Hey, I'm Vego and this is Psychedelic Actualization. On this channel we talk about topics like self-realization, self-actualization and working with psychedelics to live a more authentic and fulfilling life. One of the best tools I've found for me personally, especially for self-realization, is 5-MeO DMT. I've had a couple of 5-MeO DMT experiences. My first one was kind of my only breakthrough experience. You should definitely watch that video. You can click right here to watch it. And the other ones, also with the synthetic 5-MeO DMT, have been more on a sub-breakthrough level. A lot of Bufo Alvarius experiences have been very opening, very healing, very revealing. And I've tried to plug and snort synthetic 5-MeO DMT, but didn't really work. And now I've got a new batch of 5-MeO DMT, and it definitely works. I want to share my story of kind of my first real synthetic 5-MeO DMT experience. And of course share a little bit of mistakes that I made so you can prevent those. So the story started because I went to my friend who had the batch of 5-MeO DMT, fresh new 5-MeO DMT, and I wanted to try a little bit. But we didn't have an accurate enough scale because 5-MeO DMT smoked is active in very, very low dosages. On like 1 to 2 milligrams you can even feel the effects, and you just need 10 to 15 to have a really strong breakthrough experience. And my idea was like, great, I'm gonna have a small low dose experience just to feel into it. And we didn't have an accurate scale because those accurate scales, I can recommend you to get one, are kind of expensive. But yeah, you should always measure your doses. So we'll just like, okay, we'll just do one crystal and it should be not that strong, right? So we took a tiny little crystal and put it into a glass pipe. Kind of eyeballed the 5-MeO DMT. And I was kind of prepared to sit and meditate a little bit and go into that experience. But of course, I know kind of the space and these substances, so I also was kind of prepared that if something more happens, I'll go into it as well. And that's what I did. So I sat down, and by the way, if you want to follow my journey on kind of experimenting more with this substance, of using smaller dosage even for meditation, which is a very interesting field and topic to kind of use those lower dosages for your spiritual development and for your meditation practice, then you can subscribe to the channel or follow my work on psychedelicactualization.com. So yeah, I lighted up the pipe and inhaled very slowly, and there was a tiny little bit of smoke coming in. I was holding the first hit. I was lighting it up more, and then there was more smoke, like far more smoke coming, and I was like, okay, this is a lot of smoke. But I inhaled deeply. I inhaled all of it, so all of the little tiny crystal that we put into the pipe was gone, and I could just pass the pipe to my friend, and I could immediately feel my whole kind of field of consciousness changing, and it was very intense. It was very, very intense. I couldn't sit down anymore. I was lying down onto the mattress and just falling into this space and surrendering into this space. And it was a very interesting experience. It's so hard to put into words, you know, these kinds of experiences are kind of hard to put into words, but I can kind of compare them a little bit, maybe this experience with some Bufo Alvarius experiences that I had previously. And yeah, so what was interesting about this one, about the synthetic 5-MeO DMT experience, was I didn't, even though it was intense, it was not like the full-on breakthrough experience, but it was kind of a 6 or 7 out of 10 of intensity. It was not as loving, it was not as full of love as my other experiences. So my other experiences with the Bufo Alvarius, for example, have been very much filled with love, with this sense of beauty and with this sense of this healing capacity and this deeply going through emotions for healing. And This one was more mechanical. It was more synthetic. It felt more synthetic, which was interesting. So it was more about the questions of, first of all, just deeply surrender, and there was stuff happening, and it was more about the questions of what is happening, what is consciousness, what is reality, who am I, what is my awareness, what is awareness itself, and it was these philosophical questions that I was contemplating during the experience. Well, during the peak I was just like surrender, and as I was surrendering, in my other experiences, which was interesting, is it was an emptying of everything. So it was a deeper and deeper emptiness that I was tapping into, and through this emptiness came a certain sense of gratitude or bliss, and appreciation of the presence of existence. But this was more, it was still not visual, but the experience was kind of, it felt like it was more filled with content. I don't know how to describe the content. I don't know what the content even was. I don't know what to do with the content of that experience, but there was a happening. There was something happening, and I was surrendering into that happening, into this changing and evolving of my consciousness. And sometimes even because of this intensity, there was sometimes this little thought of fear, of like, oh shit, something is happening. And then it was just this instant surrendering of, I will accept and embrace everything that is happening. And this was kind of the continuous cycle. And I definitely left my body. I couldn't have any body awareness. I couldn't open my eyes. I couldn't do anything. But it was just this observing of this happening and a process of letting go and surrender. And yeah, and not very healing. This was kind of the main difference of all my other 5-MeO experiences, which were very healing and full of love. And this was more, mechanical and more philosophical or metaphysical, which is interesting because I've talked to many people, and many people prefer the synthetic 5-MeO to the frog venom of Bufo alvarius, and they say it's the same experience. It is the same molecule. It's 5-MeO DMT, and they say it's basically the same experience, but with the synthetic version, it's even more pure, right? It's you don't have to bother frogs, and it's a very pure experience. And in the Bufo and the frog venom, there's also other substances in it, like bufotonine and like some other stuff mixed into this kind of secret of the frog, of the toad. Yeah, so that was my experience. And I came out of it, I was like, holy smokes. Like, it was just a tiny crystal that we eyeballed. It was probably, I don't know, maybe around, we guessed it was 2 milligrams, but it was probably more like 5 milligrams. But it's such a potency and such a power in this substance. Gotta be really careful with it. Learn from my mistakes always. Well, if you want to be completely safe and be very scientific, usually I'm very scientific about my experiments of noting down the dose and measuring everything very accurately, but this time it was a little bit different. So learn from my mistakes. If you want to be safe, definitely have somebody there who is experienced in this realm, and be careful with the potency if you play with such potent and powerful and intense experiences and substances. But much more to come, much more to explore. I'm very excited, as I said, about the microdosing for meditation, and also now I definitely am able with this new badge to aim for an easy breakthrough, which I'm also kind of excited about. If you want to follow me and see those experiences, maybe even live, maybe not, subscribe to the channel, stay tuned. As I said, check out my website if you need help on your psychedelic path. I'm able to help. You can reach out to me via one-on-one call, psychedelicactualization.com, and all the best on your journey, all the love. I'm excited for what's to come, and I'll see you in the next one. Blessings.